And let's begin with a big statement that's coming from Russian President Vladimir Putin, who's now said that India can help end the Ukraine war. The Russian president now in a statement has said that India can help in peace talks, essentially play the role of a mediator. And this is a very, very significant statement coming just weeks after Prime Minister Modi met with Ukrainian President Zelensky. And remember, that visit came just about 6 weeks after he had visited Russia and met with President Putin as well. So it tells you exactly why both countries are kind of looking to India to initiate peace talks, to act as a mediator between both countries. And now Russian President Putin saying that India can actually help in ending the war, can ensure that peace talks take place between Russia and Ukraine. India, of course, is in a standing to do that, considering our ties with both Russia and Ukraine, signified in the fact that you had Prime Minister Modi heading to Russia and 6 weeks after that visiting Ukraine. And in both cases, you could see that Prime Minister Modi had a relationship, whether it was with President Putin or with President Zelensky. So a big statement that's coming from the Russian president, essentially echoing what President Zelensky also had said. Soon after the Prime Minister's visit, while interacting with the media, the Ukrainian president expressed hope that India will play a key role in helping in ending this conflict, in ending the war and bringing both sides to the talking table. In fact, globally, this has been the hope, and that's why the Prime Minister's visit to Russia, the Prime Minister's visit to Ukraine was keenly watched by every single country, believing that India really has a standing here where we can actually play a big role in ending this global war, in ending this conflict that's been raging for years now. And this is the sentiment that Russian President Putin has once again echoed. Not the first time he said it, but keeping in mind the meets that have taken place in the last few weeks of the Prime Minister with the Russian President, of the Prime Minister with the Ukrainian President. This statement extremely significant. And we'll have to see if any sort of headway is made because of the comments that have come in from Prime Minister Modi, when on both sides he said very clearly during both visits that India is on the side of peace. Geeta Mohan, our Foreign Affairs editor, is joining us with more details on this. Geeta, you've got the Russian President Putin once again highlighting how India is in a great position to go ahead and lead peace talks between Russia and Ukraine.
Well, that's right. The fact that Russia is going to host the BRICS summit, he mentioned Brazil, India and China. But this comes at the back of the meeting that took place between Prime Minister Narendra Modi and the Russian President. Clearly, and every time there is the economic forum that the Russian President or that Russia really hosts, he does make a mention of Prime Minister Modi. This time around, while he's not spoken of Prime Minister Modi and the friendship that India and Russia share, he has indeed spoken and gone a bit further by talking about how India can play the role of a mediator in these times of war. The fact that Prime Minister Modi, of the three countries that he mentioned, Brazil, India and China, Akshita, it's only India where the Indian Premier went and met Zelensky, as also Putin, and so does have that space to really have conversations started on coming back to the negotiating table. So we'll have to wait and see how that really pans out for Russia and Ukraine. But for now, President Putin mentioning India, Brazil and China to play roles as mediator in the Russia-Ukraine war.
And right, like you pointed out, Geeta, India is in a position where we're in talks with both Russia and Ukraine, which is why while you've had this comment coming in from President Putin, weeks ago when Prime Minister Modi was in Ukraine, you had a similar sentiment that was expressed by the Ukrainian president also.
Well, that's right. The fact that both the countries are looking to nations that have ties with both the countries and can get a conversation started. Now, Akshita, every other country has taken a side. So we now see the West not engaging Russia. We do see countries that are close to Russia not engaging Ukraine. India is very uniquely positioned when it comes to this very situation where you've seen India engage engage with Ukraine as also with Russia. Prime Minister Modi made it very clear that war is not the route, that diplomacy can only be a route to peace and stability and tranquility in the region. And therefore, it's not just the Russian leadership but also the Ukrainian leadership that has spoken of how India could play a role. But it is about what is the capital that India is willing to really invest in this war in these countries, not just economic but particularly political capital.
All right, Geeta, thanks very much for joining us with those details. With the Russian president making this comment and Ukraine also indicating the same just weeks ago, the global community essentially looking to India to play a mediator to get both sides to the talking table.